A few more considerations for numerals. Fractions. So for a non-technical document, unless you are following a specific style, apply the following rules. Place a hyphen between the numerator and denominator of a spelled out fraction when neither of these numbers is itself hyphenated. So 1/3, 15/16, 25 1/2. Omit the hyphen between the numerator and denominator when either of these itself contains a hyphen. So 25 hundredths, 5 64ths. So you can see how that just might avoid a bit of confusion. For a technical document, fractions are rarely used, decimals are preferred, although you might run into fractions. When fractions are used, the fraction is spelled out if it is not a precisely measured quantity. So again, we run into this, there's different rules if something is precisely measured. So 2/3 of the subjects received a placebo, but the test cards were 2.5 by 4.25 inches. To express percentages, a numeral and the percentage sign are used in technical documents. But in non-technical text, the convention is to use a numeral and the word percent. Now, depending upon which dictionary you're using, percent could be spelled P-E-R-C-E-N-T, or it might be spelled P-E-R space C-E-N-T. So know which dictionary you're using and what the appropriate spelling is. In a technical document, you might use the numeral for 6 in 6-month period. And you would use the $50 sign, and then you would use the 2.5%. But in a non-technical document, you would be far more likely to spell 6-month and $50 and to use the word percent as opposed to the symbol. Ranges must be treated consistently within a document. So if you're planning to use 2, or if you're planning to use an N dash, if you're planning to repeat or not repeat the percentage sign, make sure that you're being consistent. And then finally, a word on time. Uppercase AM and PM with no periods, or lowercase with periods are both acceptable, but know the preference for whichever style guide you're using. If you are using, for example, the abbreviation for Mountain Standard Time, make sure that you're leaving a space between AM or PM and Mountain Standard Time. When would you use something like o'clock? You would probably use that if you were writing a fiction or non-fiction long-form book type document, if it was appropriate to the context. And in that case, you probably wouldn't put PM. That might seem too technical. It might be fine, depending again on the style of the document. Know that that's an option. But it's likely that you might use o'clock, and you might contextualize when you're talking about whether that's in the morning or it's in the evening. There's also more likelihood that you would want to spell out 7 as opposed to using a numeral for 7. And so just make sure that you're checking your style guide and applying it consistently.